Booktok is no longer becoming a problem. Booktok is a problem. And before you come at me, just know that I am an actual booktoker. So I got some skin in the game and I know what I'm on about. Let's get into it. Hi. Now, first and foremost, just welcome to all my new subscribers. I was so shocked to see how many of you enjoyed my rant about Lauren M. Davis. And while I would love to give you guys an update, I want to see how much more of a hole she's going to dig herself into, or if she's really just going to chill. So today we're going to let that rest, and we're going to discuss another interesting topic that we really need to get into, and that is Booktok. Is it a problem? The answer is yes. It is a problem. Now, before I go into how it's a problem, let me say this. Booktok is an amazing place, and Booktok started out and still is, sometimes a safe space for people who enjoy reading, people who enjoy books and just want the space to be able to share their love or really just share in the love that others have for books. And Booktok has been that, but now it's evolving into something more than that, and it's gotten really, really hard to really just witness what Booktok is becoming in the last few months. And it's something that we need to discuss. First and foremost, the fast fashion trend that publishing has now jumped into as a result of Booktok. Now, I know some people will say, oh, that's not Booktok's fault how the publishing industry has moved. But no, let's actually pause. Do you remember the pandemic when Booktok really started blowing up? And all that was happening was everyone was getting into Booktok, tuning into Booktok, deciding to make a Booktok. And people started reading more because of Booktok. And the publishing industry, what did they say? We were saved by Booktok. And there were so many articles talking about how Booktok saved publishing, how Booktok revived the publishing industry. So we cannot say that we do not have any culpability when it comes to how publishing moves. That just isn't true. Now, in terms of the fast fashion trend that publishing seems to be following, that is also definitely in part due to Booktok, because Booktok is churning out a lot of sales for publishing. And I love that for them. I love it for the authors who are, realizing their dream because their video blew up or a review of their book blew up and someone got to see their dreams come true. For example, Olivia Blake. The Atlas 6 was actually self-published before it got picked up traditionally. And that's because the book blew on Booktok. So Booktok definitely helps a lot. It has a big part to play in publishing in this day and age that we live in now. But see, this is where the problem lies. Booktok a lot of the times is about hype. We see a lot of books blowing up because of hype. And obviously, there were always influencers in the game with authors and with the publishing industry. But now it seems that authors and publishing houses are more so publishing books because of their marketability. And there is nothing wrong with that. A book needs to be marketable, that's true, but a book also needs to be good. And in recent years, what we've seen is that we see series getting 3 releases in a single year. And that just doesn't make sense. No matter how you cut it, that doesn't make sense, especially when it's traditionally published. Now, that's not to say that traditionally published books, they have more effort put into them than self-published books, but it's the fact that the process to get a book traditionally published is no joke. After you finally get agented, which takes a while in its own, you need to go through quite a lot of stages. You get your agent starts speaking to editors, and if an editor likes your book, they will then take it to a publisher. Guys, that is like an initial stage, because that's just if an editor likes your book, it'll take it to publishing. But the actual stages of editing is a lot. There's developmental editing, there's substantial editing, there's copy editing, there's proofreading, there's a lot that goes into editing itself. And that's before the book gets its cover. That's before the book gets its marketing strategy. That's before, the book gets a date to be released. All of these things happen before a book finally gets into our hands as consumers. So you mean to tell me that after you've sold a book, to an editor, then sell it to a publisher, you can release 3 of those books, go through all of those harrowing phases in like 2 months and get the book printed and published and, into our hands in 2 months? It doesn't make a lick of sense. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. And then because of that, we get books that we've been seeing quite frankly a lot lately, with actual errors in the book. You are a major publishing house. How do you have a grammatical error in your book? You know what? How do you have spelling mistakes left, right, and center all over your book? How does the actual book and actual book title get printed wrong? These issues have actually happened recently. I'm not going to name any names, but I feel like some people will know what I'm on about. And it's not to say that the book is bad, but it's just to say that there was not enough time and effort put into actually releasing the book, because the publishing houses were so focused on getting this book out, getting this book out. It's marketable. We're making money off of it, instead of actually focusing on making sure that it is a beautiful product that your actual consumers will enjoy. You know what? We complain all the time as readers. Oh my goodness, I have to wait 2 years before the next book comes out. I have to wait 3 years. I have to wait all this time before the next book comes out. But you know what? At the end of the day, if the book comes out 4 years later and it's a great book, I won't have minded. But if the book comes out 2 months later and it's crap, I will be upset. I will be upset. I would rather wait and wait and wait for a properly edited book to be released in years than for a trashly edited book to be put in my lap in 2 months. And that's the God honest truth. But because of Booktok, because Booktok is now giving to us all of these, like, you know, marketable books, and because publishing is saying that we like a certain type of book, they will now chase after the more marketable book, and they will put less and less effort into taking time with that book. And so we end up with, you know, some books that are basically subpar. It is actually frustrating, because you go into places like Waterstones, you go into these or Barnes and Nobles in America and other places, and you see a whole table that says, Booktok made me buy it. Oh my goodness, guys, do you know how much I hate that tag? The way I go into Waterstones and I see that table and I immediately veer left or right. I am avoiding it with all of my chest. I do not want to see it. Now, that's not to say that the books on that table aren't good. That's not to say that. But there's a certain pattern with the picking of these books that gets on my nerves. And it's also another problem with Booktok. And that is the fact that Booktok is catered to a certain demographic, a certain group. Booktok basically excludes everyone that is not a white woman. Everyone that's not a white woman, you're excluded from Booktok. And that's true. If you first join TikTok and you join Booktok and you go into the search bar and you write Booktok, the first few videos are just a bunch of white women. And you know what? No, nothing against you, but the books that we're getting recommended from these followers are the same 5 books by the same 5 authors. And not to say that their books aren't good, but goodness, there is no diversity anywhere. There is no diversity anywhere. And people keep saying, oh, why is that a problem where there's no diversity? No diversity in authorship means that there's no diversity in thought, no diversity in experience. And then you go out into the world and you wonder why you cannot relate and you wonder why you cannot empathize. It is very, very frustrating. And the fact that Booktok, the hashtag, or just the community doesn't see a lot of the time an importance in actually diversifying their bookshelves and the books that they read, means that the pattern remains. And so you go into these stores and that table remains the same. And it's just your same cookie cutter books. And I will say this, while it's not guaranteed that the Booktok hashtag means the book is bad, the book can be good. A lot of times the book is bad. I'm gonna say a lot of times the book is bad. And you're just here like, Booktok, you lied. You lied. And we're seeing so many times where people are not even trusting the books that Booktok recommends anymore, because the minute the hype goes up on Booktok, a lot of times the quality goes down. And it makes me upset, because that means that there is a book in there that's going to get lost in the crack of Booktok, because there's going to be a book that is so amazing that Booktok properly hyped up, because it was worth the hype, but because Booktok has become so synonymous with actually it's bad, people are just going to ignore anything with that. So Booktok, while it started as a book community where people can get good recommendations from, it now has a reputation that actually, this is just marketable books. These are just people who are getting paid to lie to us, because all the books they recommend are trash. These books are not diverse. And so people aren't trusting Booktok anymore. And that's really, really harmful for the actual authors in question, because I'm just like, goodness, when there's a good author, you're now going to suffer if you're a Booktok hype book. And it's so frustrating. But actual publishing in their fast fashion aside, and the errors with them, and they gotta fix that. Oh, aside from that, the other problem with Booktok, the other major problem with Booktok, is the actual booktokers themselves. Now, I know this is so like weird for a booktoker to now say that Booktok is the problem because of booktokers. It's just like, are you blaming yourself? I hope this group of booktokers, I never actually joined them, but the booktokers on Booktok, a group of them, they're part of the problem with Booktok. First and foremost, we're going to speak on the booktokers who refuse to take accountability for their poor behavior. We've seen quite a lot of times, even in the last year, where a booktoker had to get canceled. And I hate cancel culture, so I'm just like, no. I don't believe in cancel culture. What I believe in is accountability. If we say that you've done something wrong and you have done something wrong, then admit to it, take accountability, and change. So I don't believe in canceling. I believe in bringing someone up to par, up to bat, and making sure that they take accountability for their actions. That's what I believe in. Now, the problem here is that booktokers, some of these booktokers are refusing accountability, and so you need to be canceled. Okay? If we bring to your attention something that you've done which is wrong, then you know what? Maybe it's time to look into it. And if there's accountability that needs to be had, take accountability. Because one thing I also don't believe in is just believing something because the masses say it. So if a big group of people say you've done something wrong, I don't believe that you should automatically think that you've done something wrong. Actually, look into what people are saying, listen to what they're saying, and take a step back. Do some self-reflection. Maybe I was actually in the wrong. I respect when you do that. But there are booktokers where when you are called out, you can tell immediately that they did not take a minute to listen to what we had to say or what the people had to say about why what they did was wrong. They just hear blame, and immediately go to, how are you guys blaming me? I am just giving out my opinion. It's not my fault that this was done, I know that we are all, or some of us are aware of the whole debacle with the hockey book in 2023. I'm not going to name names. But basically, booktoker got really big really quickly. And that's not to say anything against this booktoker. You know what? Congratulations to them. And so they got really big. And one of the books that they were hyping was a hockey romance that really started to blow up in 2023. I don't know what was going on, but hockey romances really started to blow. I might have to look into that later on. But yeah. So she started to obviously hype up the book, and everyone started getting into it. And then the actual book made her get into the sport hockey, which is fine. I love when Booktok makes me, get into other interests. It's really cool when it does that, or makes me want to research into other things. She started watching hockey, got obsessed with this one team, and well, what happened is there were a few people on the team that were cute, that were given a bit of, and she made it known that you are attractive. And she kept making these outlandish videos. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all kind of, if you're watching my video, you know that I'm outlandish. I scream. I just do the most all the time. I'm just even realizing now the way I speak with my hands, but that's just how I am. And that's how a lot of us are. There's nothing wrong with that when it's done in jest and when it's done in a fun way and when it hasn't offended the people in question. This is where it gets a bit icky, because even the hockey team now were endorsing her and saying, we're reposting her video, even invited her to a game. Yeah. And then, she had fun at the game, did her usual shtick, and that's fine. But what started to happen is that one of the players started to get, essentially harassed by the Booktok girlies, because they were in his comments, repetitively, just, saying, just a bunch of, kind of, dirty things, like that. And he's married, and made it known at one point that this is making me uncomfortable, and his wife made it known that this is making me uncomfortable. Now, the minute someone says that they're uncomfortable with something, this is your chance to stop. You have to stop. Now, there's a lot of discourse around this entire topic because it was like, okay, they were with it at the beginning. They were endorsing it. You know what? That's true, and there's so much discourse around this topic, guys. But the fact of the matter is, when this started to happen, and then, a lot of people were, attributing the comments that they were getting, the hockey players were getting, and everything that was happening to this booktoker, It was immediate, why are you guys blaming me? There was definitely no, let me actually look into what was going on at the beginning. Let me actually analyze my behavior. Did I have some part to play in what has happened, what has transpired? Because a lot happened after, you know, the wife made her comments and stuff like that. A lot happened. It became more of an attack. You guys are attacking me, I'm gonna attack everyone else. It was bad. And this is just one example. There have been several examples when booktalkers have been called out, and instead of acknowledging or instead of looking into what you're being called out for, and if you are wrong, acknowledging it and taking accountability and changing your behavior, instead you go on the immediate defensive and there's no accountability to be had. And the thing is, with booktalkers, you get canceled for a season and that's it. And it's really, really bad because you just have a bunch of booktalkers out here behaving badly. And we already have authors behaving badly. We don't need booktalkers doing the same. And it's just really, really frustrating because now it's making the platform into something that's just so chaotic. And we don't want that. We want it to be fun. We want it to be welcoming. We want it to be like just safe as it used to be. And speaking of safe, the other problem that I am taking major issue with is the booktalkers who are exhibiting predatory behavior on this app. Goodness me. For those of you who don't know, with all this hockey love that's been happening on Booktok, there's been hockey love, there's been biker love. So motorcyclers, like, you know, I guess the books that the booktalkers are reading have been having a lot of these characters in it, and so the girlies are loving them, and the, you know, the hockey players, they felt the love and they started responding in kind, and the bikers, same thing, they felt the love, they started responding in kind, to the point that they were making videos specifically geared towards Booktok girlies. And you know what? If you want the attention from Booktok girlies, that's fine. The problem here is that it seems that some of these Booktok girlies in a certain community, the spicy Booktok, and I'm gonna call you guys out, spicy and smutty Booktok, you guys need to be reined in. I am not shaming anyone for what they decide to read, but when you cannot differentiate reality from books, you need help, okay? Because why? On an underage boy's page, when he is speaking about a book that he's read and he's just done a simple hashtag book talk, do you now jump into his comments and thirst after this teenage boy saying, you know, you need to go and read this explicit book instead. We have a new one. He's our baby. No, this is predatory behavior. And it seems like the smutty book talkers are getting worse and worse, because you will go to a review video that speaks about YA book. YA, young adult. It has been put in that category for a reason, and beg and say, oh my goodness, it was a bad book because it didn't have spice. Where's your brain? Where's your brain? It didn't have spice because it's a young adult book. It's geared towards children. Children. Are you okay? You'll go into a fiction, or just a classic fiction. I didn't like it. It didn't have spice. Why do you need spice and everything? Yes, that is the type of books you like. But if you cannot judge a book critically without spice in it, then I'm sorry. Stay out of everyone's comments. Stay off. Or you know what? We're just going to seclude you guys. We're just going to put you guys in one little corner, and you guys can move mad in that little corner, since you guys can't behave anywhere else. But these problematic booktalkers are making it kind of scary to be on Booktok, because when I am seeing you literally behaving like a predator on a teenage boy's page, that is very terrifying, because now we're going to be called predators. We're going to be called predators, and that's true. That's actually true. And it's not like the first time that Booktok has gotten in trouble. But with these problematic booktalkers, more and more we're being blasted on news outlets. Oh, Booktok is the area for this and that. I'm just like, no, we're not involved. We're not involved with the hockey debacle and the harassment there. Booktok made the news, and I'm just like, that's not us. That is a subset of people who don't know how to control their impulses. And then I'm surprised the predatory behavior didn't make it on the news, and if it did, I guess I missed it, but come on. The problematic behavior of these booktalkers, it needs to stop. But it's making Booktok a problem, because Booktok is no longer the safe space that it was made to be. It's not safe for young people. It's not safe for people who don't like spice. It's not safe for people who want to give, criticism, fair criticism as well, to booktalkers. It's just bad. And the other side of problematic booktalkers, decorum. 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 Do you guys have decorum? Because while there are no specific rules or explicit rules to how you should be on Booktok, there are certain, like, there's certain etiquette that you should have on Booktok that I feel, we don't need to say. It should kind of be common sense. And one of those being how you interact with authors and the community, And this is specific because there are a lot of things around etiquette, that I can speak to on Booktok etiquette. But this specific matter, this needs to be addressed. So we are a safe space on Booktok for people to give their reviews honestly. And this is where we have problematic authors who don't like some of our honest reviews, especially when we give them a low rating. But it's our safe space. This is a reviewer space. We can say what we want. That is true. But it's just etiquette. If you have a not so nice review for an author, don't tag them in it. Don't tag them in it. No. There is some nuance to this, because if what you're calling them out for are things like, racism and discrimination, name and shame. Name and shame. You tag them well. You tag them in the comments, you tag them in other places, you tag them well. If it's literally for, discrimination, racism, just things that are just bad behavior, also bad behavior, and that's why you're calling them out, yes, we will tag you. But if it's a case of, I didn't like the pace of the book, I didn't like the character, I didn't like the ending, and so I gave it a 2-star, those are really just your opinions, and those opinions are very, very valid, but there's no need to tag the author. It's really kind of rude, because imagine you're an author and you've put your heart and soul into a book, and your book is your baby. It really is like your child. And you've published it, and you're really happy, and that some people will not like it. That's true. But like, it's already so much pressure to put your book out. Now, to have someone explicitly tag you to say that your book was crap, that's kind of rude. That's rude. That's bad Booktok etiquette. Terribly bad Booktok etiquette. And if you're joining Booktok, please take that into account. Unless you're calling out bad behavior, if your review of a book is poor, do not tag the author. That's just rude. That is so rude. And you know what? I think I might make a video on Booktok etiquette simply for the people who want to join Booktok and really just need to know, the ins and the outs, or all the steps to joining Booktok, because Booktok is really just an amazing community once you get rid of all this bad thing. And hopefully we can get rid of all these bad things and make Booktok what it used to be. But truly, yeah, don't do that. But yeah, guys, these are, just problems arising in the Booktok community, or arising because of Booktok, that's making Booktok the problem. It's no longer the solution anymore. It's really become the problem, and they just need to be addressed. Publishing needs to address it, because you cannot just keep, going for books that are simply marketable. Go for a book that's good. Some books are great, and they just don't have the vim, because we move along with the times. We're now in an era of dragons. Dragons are really popping up. So books that are marketable are dragon books. People are loving, the wolves, the werewolves, and the vampires again, I'm noticing. And so vampires and werewolves might become more marketable now. And so books about other things, books about other creatures may not be as marketable, but it doesn't mean that that book isn't good. Publishing, do your job properly. Stop watching Booktok. If a book is good, Booktok will pick it up. That's fair. Send your arts, we'll read them. If it's good, it's good. But do not just be attacking books for marketability, because then we'll end up with chaos. And please, go through the publishing process properly, please. We do not need poorly printed books. We do not need poorly edited books. We do not need poor books coming out and landing in our hands, all because you thought the hype would give you some money. Please stop doing that, because then we will return those books, and you will not like that. Okay? We will not like that. Booktokers do better. Booktokers do better. And like I said at the beginning, I hope I never fall into this category of booktoker that, one, won't take accountability, and two, starts behaving like a predator. Okay? And believe me, I don't think I will ever land in that circle, because are you okay? Like, truly, these people are not okay. But it is what it is. And just here's to hoping that Booktok becomes better, okay? For all you book lovers, here's to hoping Booktok becomes better, because we can't keep having this. It's just scary out here in these streets. And as we are entering a new year, we want new everything, you know, new behaviors from everyone, authors and book talkers and publishing houses, everyone in the literary industry. We want new behaviors from you guys. Do better, okay? Do better. Because you know what it is, we will name and we will shame. And it is what it is. Because how else will you get corrected? But that is it for now, guys. Once again, I know I went on a bit of a rant, but these problems are really irking me. And as I enter the new year, I just don't want to see them. And we have to really just get the news out, because how else will things change? Information, baby, information. But until next time, so happy that you guys joined. Once again, thank you so much for all the love on my last video, and to all the new subscribers. I hope once again to see you soon on my next video. I definitely am looking forward to giving you guys some reviews on the books that I've read and have been reading. It's been a slow start to the year, but that's all right. That's all right. We're not, we're not pressured to read as much as we can. We read because we like it. We read because it's fun. So if we don't want to read, it's not going to happen. It is. So until next time, be sure to like, comment, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe, and be sure to click on that little bell so that you get a notification whenever I post. But until next time, guys, bye.